everybody. I have read my first 20 books of the year. My resolution this year is to read 100, and I'm going to review the first 20 books that I've read, starting with the worst and ending with the best. So, number 20. Focus, Cameron. Come on. Alright, I believe in you. Okay, number 20. We've got Capital Gains. Now, I guess my family thought this was a business book, but it is not. This is just kind of about his life and his TV, or not really about his TV show. He does Fixer Upper, which I've never seen, so I didn't really know what to think about the guy. I guess he's cool, but not really what I expected it to be. So that's why it's last. Alright. Number 19. I can't forget. Okay. Richard Branson, like a virgin. So this was like supposed to be on business, and it is about business a little bit. It's just written in a fashion that he just answers a bunch of questions that he's gotten from people, and it like doesn't seem to have any order. So I learned a little bit about customer service. It was kind of cool, but I really did not like the structure of it. Okay, moving on. Next, number 18. We have another Richard Branson, Finding My Virginity. So this is his autobiography, and I think I learned more from his autobiography than his business book about business. Yeah, he's a cool guy, but I don't know. He doesn't like run the companies. He runs like a Virgin brand, so he isn't exactly the kind of person I want to model myself after. But nevertheless, he's pretty cool. All right, moving on. Number 17. We have E-Myth Mastery. So this is like goes into more detail, sort of, than E-Myth to be visited, which is higher up on the list, and we'll talk about that later. But this one was supposed to go into more detail, and I don't know. It didn't seem to give me much more than the E-Myth Revisited did, so we'll come back to that later. All right. Number 16. We have One-on-One with Andy Grove. Now, Andy Grove is the Intel guy, and I have another his books higher on the list. That's pretty good, but this one, I really don't like the structure where it's just, oh, here, I'm just going to answer a bunch of questions that people ask me. Although he did kind of organize them together by what they were about, as opposed to Richard Branson is just like, I'm just going to do whatever. So Andy Grove is a god, and unfortunately this one's going in the lower part of the list. He's pretty awesome, you know. I'll show you another one later. Oh, I guess it's on the other. It's also on the lower part of the list, but it's very good. Alright, so number 15. We have Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. This is a guy who's a Roman emperor, a philosopher, a Stoic. I don't really agree with much of what he has to say. I mean, there's some stuff that I appreciate, but I don't believe in. Yeah, I don't subscribe to Stoicism. I might have maybe a few hundred years ago, but no longer. And yeah, he believes in the soul. Oh gosh, keep it in the shop. Yeah, he talks a lot about the soul, which, you know, I don't know. Might not think that we have that, but if your spirituality level is greater than 0, then you might like this. And Stoicism is is a pretty decent way to live your life. However, it's not the way I want to. So this one was okay, I guess. It was good. Yeah. He's not modern. He hasn't experienced capitalism like the best ever. No, okay. But yeah. Okay, next one. Okay, so at like these, this one is number 14, and focus camera. Okay, listen to me. Okay, this one is number 14, and from 14 up, all of these are what I would consider pretty good, and well, some of them were harder to read, but most of them I just like breezed through because they were really, really good. So number 14 is How the Mighty Fall. It's written by Jim Collins, and I'll have another one by him up higher. Just a little bit higher. But he does studies on businesses, and this is why, well, this one covers why some of them have failed, which is very important. Or, well, I mean, I think it's very important to understand. So yeah, it's kind of small, but it was a good read, and talks about decline, which is not the most positive thing in the world, but it's important to realize why it happens. So, on to the next one. Number 13. Camera, thank you. Alright. We have The Roving Mind okay, it is by Isaac Asimov. I mean, it's a collection of his writings. I'm not sure if he actually published this himself. I doubt it. And it's copyrighted by him. Published by Prometheus Books, so. Alright. Anyways. It's a good friend. So hard to hold this in the same shot. Okay, a good friend of mine. I'm not sure if I should disclose his name. You know, he's not already all over this channel. Alright, it was Jeffrey. He gave this to me for my birthday 2 years ago, I think. Isaac Asimov is my favorite author. He wrote Foundation, which is probably my favorite book. I don't know. I'm reading some really good stuff, and it's hard to tell if it's still as good as some of the stuff I'm reading. But so far, he's my favorite author. He's a science fiction god. He is a non-fiction god. This is a collection of his non-fiction writings, and covers lots of stuff. And it does seem to have an order to it, so I enjoy that. But yeah, Isaac Asimov is amazing, and this is just a bunch of collection of his writings, shorter writings, but nevertheless very, very good, very solid. All right, number 12. I have a list that I keep reading off, and so I can't keep track. I have 33 strategies of war. Now, it's written by Robert Greene. There we go. Robert Greene. Robert Greene is pretty darn awesome. If you like history, you're going to like any book that he's written. He always has lots of historical examples. This one was cool. I mean, I've already read The Art of War, and this one has some more modern examples. Post Sun Tzu. But yeah, this covers some good stuff. I think the one that I will use myself is to, where is it? Okay, I don't know where it is, but it's called the death ground. You want to put yourself on the death ground, so you have no choice but to either die or fight your way through it. And the example in the book was the guy named Hernan Cortez, who conquered the Aztecs with 500 men when the Aztecs were like so much bigger. His leader wanted to conquer the Aztecs himself, but Cortez snuck away with some ships and went to go do it himself. and he's having a lot of trouble with his crew because the crew wanted to go home to their wives because they had already found a lot of gold. So Cortez basically sunk his own ships so they couldn't get back home, so they had no choice um, but to do what he wanted. Or well, okay. The crew found out that he was like gonna say that their worms ate through the wood in the ships, and the ships sunk. But then the crew found out, and then he's like, all right, you either hang me and you die, or you follow me and we get all the money. No, I'm sure he didn't say that, but he sunk his own ships so that his crew had no choice. He put them on a death trap. And so maybe that's something that I will do, is I will put myself in a situation where I have no choice but to die or succeed and get that money. I don't know. I thought this is very good. Olive Green that I've read so far is very, very fun to read if you like history. Okay, moving on. We have oh, come on, you can do it. Alright, there you go. High Output Management by Andy Grove. Andy Grove, as I said before, is works at Intel, and he explains management in this very clearly and has great examples. He uses a breakfast factory in the beginning part to talk about the process and when you should test things, all that sorts of stuff. And he's just a really cool guy because he's one of the few business people that have changed the core business of a large company and survived. So Intel used to be a memory company until Japan was like, we're gonna take you, we're gonna take you out, take you out back. No. So he took Intel into the microprocessor or the semiconductor business, and that's what it does today. So very, very cool guy, very, very awesome writing. He's the man. Andy Grove, everybody. Andy Grove. All right. Number 10, halfway there. Good to Great by Jim Collins. I already showed How the Mighty Fall by Jim Collins. This is very, very, very good. It's a study on business, so if you don't like business, you might not like it too much. But it's a very cool study, and all of his studies are very, very thorough. He took so many companies, and he explains in the back how he narrows down the companies that he selected, and then he has comparison companies. Oh gosh, he's just a study master, and worth a read if you're interested in business at all. Good to Great. Alright, next one. Oh, come on, camera. I'm right here. Alright, next one. This one is not for most people. This is for people that like intellectual torture. So we have Popper Select. Oh, come on. I'm smarter than this. We have Popper Selections. This is written by Karl Popper wrote these things, and then I think David Miller compiled them together. So Popper is a more modern philosopher than what most people think of as philosophers. He talks a lot about science. This is mostly about science, and yeah, I only understand like 15% of what's going on in here, and what I do understand is really cool. So if you're into torturing your head, definitely get into philosophy. Whew, that was good endorsement. Okay, next one. This is number 8. Principles by Ray Dalio. So if you don't know who Ray Dalio is, he is a hedge fund, or well, he was. He created the largest hedge fund in the world. I think it's called Bridgewater. Yeah, Bridgewater. And this is his book on his life and work principles. and then he says he's going to come out with another one on his investment principles and economic principles. He's been consulted by like governments and all sorts of stuff on the economy and just the way he lives his life and runs his business, or used to run his business. Now he's like a board, or now he's like chairman. He used to be co-CEO for quite a while, but this book is worth it just to get the idea of an idea meritocracy, which is like I don't want to say a new structure of management, because me and my father have argued for a long time about how management hasn't changed, but it's an incremental change to management, and it's very, very cool. So like the basic idea of an idea meritocracy is everyone can throw their ideas out there, but some ideas are weighted more heavily than other ideas. So like the criteria that used to weight ideas are what you call believability. And to have a base level of believability, you have to have done something a few times and have a good explanation for why you've done it. So, like he actually went through and like gave people weights to their opinions, or not to their ideas, and then it's kind of like a democracy, but people have it's like people have more than one vote based upon how well they've performed in the past. Very, very cool, very awesome, and worth it if you are interested in business or just the life principles. The way that, yeah, it's a book for probably most people. Although if you're into investment or management, this would probably be more appealing. Yeah, it's very good though. Right now, oh, this book is beautiful too. It's probably the most beautiful book. Just like if you were to judge a book by how it looked without the words, this one is pretty beautiful. I don't know if I can. Okay, that was pretty bad. But he like, can I get this section here? Oh, he just has red in there and it's black, and it's just like best color combo ever. It's a beautiful book. Anyways, moving on. Number 7. Okay, I actually don't have number 7 with me because I gave it to my dad to have him read. I will put a picture right here. It's called Crucial Conversations, and it's about just that. I think this is a book for everyone, because everyone, without a doubt, and I don't want to speak in absolutes, those are for the sick, but most everyone will probably have a crucial conversation at one point in their lifetime. And a crucial conversation is one where the stakes are high, and it's very stakes are high, and there's a difference of opinion, and you need to resolve it. So it goes into strategies on how to like diffuse bad diffuse like emotions before they stop you from having a conversation, because you need to have them. So I mean, okay, that was probably the worst explanation ever, and it's been a while since I've read it, but it's very good, and I think everyone should read it, because most everyone will probably at some point in time have to have a crucial conversation, and it teaches you how to do it. Alright, number 6, also I do not have with me. My dad really needs to read faster. It's called The E-Myth Revisited, and this is the story of a baker. They like say that the name isn't what it really is, so I guess I can just say what it is. I mean, I don't know what it really is, but in the book, her name is Sarah, and she has a business called All About Pies. And really, if you are interested in running a small business, or if you have a small business, you should read this book. as you were probably a technician and you don't want to get into the trouble that Sarah had. So that was also not a very good explanation. So it talks about how there's like 3 personalities. There's a technician, there's a manager, and there's an entrepreneur. And the technician is the person that does the work. The manager is the person that supervises the work, and the entrepreneur is the person that creates the work. And what the author is arguing is that most people are technicians. They say, oh, I can make pies very well. I can start a pie business. And basically the E-Myth is telling you that no, you can't. No, I mean, it's not really telling you that, but it's telling you that just because you can do the technical work does not mean you can run the business, which is definitely true and why a lot of them fail. He also, or well, the E-Myth is the E-Myth is that people that start their own businesses are entrepreneurs, and he's basically saying no, they're not. They're technicians that think that they're entrepreneurs. So he talks about how to work on your business instead of in it, and how to develop it. If anyone has a business or is thinking about starting one, read the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Michael Gerber. Very, very good book. Alright, number 5. I actually have it. Alright, come on, camera. You can do it. Camera. Camera. Focus. Please. Camera. Camera! Alright, 1 second. Let me go back over here. Oh, camera, what's going on? Thought we were friends. Hey. Can you focus on this? Camera? Why do you do this to me? Where? Camera. Just do it, camera. Camera. Just do it. Come on. What's going on? Camera. Camera. Come on now. Come on. Come on, camera. Camera. Alright. Looks like focus on my hand. Okay. Now focus on me. What are you doing? Okay, my hand. Very, very sexy. Oh my gosh. Okay. Come on. Keep focusing. Come on. Camera. Don't do this to me. Alright, come on. Alright, let's move you around here. Oh no. Alright, let's make some technical difficulties. Oh, come on. Focus, camera. Camera. Alright, now I'm going to turn off the light and see. Focus. Do it. Come on. Come on, camera. 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 Focus on me. Focus. Camera, focus, please. Camera. Come on. Come on, camera. Okay, the camera has been fixed. Let's get going before it freaks out again. Okay. Number 5. Algorithms to live by. This is about algorithms that were used on computers, obviously, and they apply to various things. One is on like dating or buying a house. That one is pretty cool. It's like based upon the optimum stopping problem. What else is there? Oh, there's an excellent chapter on caching and how it relates to memory. Let's see, what else have we got in here? What else? Oh yeah, excellent, very, very cool chapter on randomness and how we can do things faster randomly than just like calculating the optimal solution. And that factors into what's it called? Encryption. There's randomness used in encryption because they use primes a lot, and you can randomly test for primes a lot faster than you can actually test for primes, to be sure. So I'm not really sure how that relates to your life. I'd have to read it again, but that was really cool. And then there's a section on relaxation, which is not what you think. It's like relaxing constraints on problems, making them easier to solve, and then creating an approximation to the problem. So I really like this book. Of course, I like computer science a bit. So if you like computer science, or if you're interested in learning more, this is very, very good, and I would definitely recommend it to everyone because this could apply to everybody. All right. Number 4, I don't have. Once again, we need to yell at. Oh my God, Canva, don't. Oh, thank you. All right. Number 4 is The Hard Thing About Hard Things, which I will put a picture here. Okay. It's written by Ben Horowitz, and it's about a software company CEO. I mean, that's what he was. And it is very, I mean, I think it does a good job of showing the difficulties of being a CEO. Like his wife was hospitalized, and his father-in-law called him and was like, you know, we got this. You gotta do your job, basically, because he knew how important it was that Ben Horowitz was there. And so, okay, so the first part of it tells the story of the company. So I think at first it was called Loud Cloud, and then it turned into Opsware. So another reason why I really like Ben Horowitz is he's kind of like Andy Grove. He started with a cloud-based business, which was called Loud Cloud, and then he completely changed the core business of Loud Cloud into Opsware, which was oh gosh, it was a cloud business, and then it turned into something else. I don't remember. It's been a while, and I don't have the book with me, so I can't look. But I know this seems bad because it's one of my favorites, but very, very good. So he changed the core business, and he had to lay off large amounts of employees 3 times, and he eventually got to $1 billion value. Oh, also he went public during the dot-com crash, or bubble, when the dot-com bubble bursted, which was rather insane, yet it worked. And I mean, well, it didn't work then. It was pretty horrible then, but he was able to get the company to over $1 billion valuation, which is pretty rare for a company that has laid off massive amounts of people 3 times. One of my favorite parts. Wow, I don't know. Okay, I'll censor what was said. So he talks about how he was more of a wartime CEO than a peacetime CEO. And a wartime CEO is when you're fighting for survival. Your company is going to die, or it is going to live, and you are the factor determining that. So he had to hire a head of sales, and he found this guy. I don't remember what his name was, but he found this guy, and no one on the board liked this guy. They thought this was not the right guy. Be a bad decision to hire this guy, and yet Ben was like, this guy is amazing at sales. All of his references are like, they just say that he's amazing. And then he gets a call from one of the people that worked with the prospect or the who could be the guy that he was trying to hire as head of sales. He worked with him, and he said, "You don't want to hire him." And Ben was like, "Why not?" And the guy was like, "Well, he wouldn't be a good fit for the culture." And Ben was like, "Why would you say that? Like, please explain." So the guy says that the person that was trying to get hired as the head of sales was working at the company with the guy, and he got invited to speak to a bunch of new sales trainees, and he's at wherever the new trainees are, and he goes up to talk to them. He's like on stage. He's talking to a bunch of them. He goes up to talk to them, and he says, I don't care what you think you know. If you don't get me $250,000 every quarter, I'll put a bullet in your effing brain." And I just thought that was really funny. And it showed that he's pretty serious about sales. But yeah, Ben ended up hiring the guy, and he worked with him later when he went to Andreessen Horowitz, which is a VC firm. And the key point there was that you don't have time to worry about things like culture and how they're going to fit when you're at war. So it talked about a lot of really difficult things to do, like how to lay off people, and how to fire executives that did a great job the year before, but they're no longer qualified to do the job required of them now, so you have to fire them. So it was very, very good. And you'd probably only like it if you were interested in being a CEO or an executive of some sort. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. All right, number 3. We have Scale. This is written by Geoffrey West, and it is amazing. So this book talks about growth. It talks about organisms a lot in the first part, and then later it talks about cities and companies. So it's very, very interesting. There are how do I say it? I don't want to say laws, but they're like things governing how pretty much everything grows. Like all mammals, when plotted like logarithmically with certain factors, exhibit a straight line, which is pretty crazy. I'm not sure everyone will understand what the heck I'm saying, but like you can take the characteristic. You can essentially, when you know what you read in this book, you can like say, oh, if you give me I don't know, if you give me like weight, I can probably tell you, what animal it is. Or if you give me how long it lives, I can probably tell you what it is. It's like it's crazy, and I can't explain it because you just have to read it. If you're interested in biology, if you're interested in cities, it's just incredibly awesome. And explains why the number 4 is like the number of life, and it gets into fractals for that explanation. So pretty sure the large majority of whoever will watch this video will have no idea what I'm talking about. So very, very cool. It talks about how cities are a pretty amazing phenomena, and that's kind of why I want to move to a big city. It's like cities scale, like the larger the city, the more GDP per capita, the more opportunity there is, the more patents that are filed. And all of it scales at like very, very close to the same rate. It's like you can take New York, you can scale it down to what's another big city? You can scale down to Chicago and predict what the GDP per capita will be, and it will be pretty darn close to what it actually is. So, very, very cool rules governing cities. Yeah, if you're interested in urban planning, biology, just cool stuff, read this book. It is amazing. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Number 2, I also do not have with me because my dad is slow. It's called The Lean Startup, and it is written by Eric Ries. He was one of the co-founders of IMVU, which I had never used because I'm too young. But it was like it's like a 3D avatar world, I guess, where you can chat. It was like that's where the IM part comes from. So he created that, and okay, that really has nothing to do with what the book is about. So the book, The Lean Startup, what a startup is just a company that's in the beginning stages, and he applies the principles of lean manufacturing, which if you're interested in lean manufacturing, just read about Toyota. But he applies the principles of lean manufacturing to business, and I definitely think I want to try out this methodology or philosophy of business. I don't know how to. I'd say methodology. So, anyways, what it essentially is it is based on learning. The goal of the Lean Startup is to learn. Now, this is very hard for conventional business to grasp, because if your manager comes and asks you, like, why did we only sell like 10 teddy bears this week? If you say, well, it was because I was learning, your manager is not going to like that. He wants results. And the Lean Startup, it really needs to be embraced by the business, or it's not. I don't think it will work, because like I said, like you can't apply these unless the entire business is going lean, because people just want to understand what's going on. So the goal is validated learning. So like the basic point is, it's all about product development. So like, say you're developing a product. There was this methodology of product development called waterfall, and waterfall is basically like, oh, we're going to create this product, and then we're just going to send it to customers, and that's going to be it. That was probably a pretty poor explanation of waterfall, but Lean tries to learn rather than just to ship off its product. So the principles of Lean, you basically create a minimum viable product. So you create the bare minimum for a feature that you want, and then you go and test it with customers. So the goal is because it's Lean, you're basically wanting to not waste. You're cutting waste. That's what Lean is all about. So it's like all about learning what customers want rather than just giving them a product and having no one buy your stuff. So it's all about finding out what customers want, then creating it. And it's also not about what customers say they want. It's about finding what they actually want. So I think you can apply this. It's mainly for business people, but yeah, it's very, very cool, and I definitely think I'm going to apply it myself. So that's why I put it as number 2. Very interesting to me, although not to everybody. It would not be number 2 for large majority of people. Okay, number 1, by far favorite this year, is 1984. Big brother's watching you, baby. He's watching me too. Got my webcam on right there. He's watching me. Alright, so 1984. Wow, this is pure genius. So, it's about this society. It's called Oceana, where there's mass surveillance. There are these things called telescreens in homes and public places, and you can never turn them off. You can like dim them, which is alright. So they both talk to you, and they listen as well, and they can see. So, oh gosh, excuse me. Okay, what was it? Telescreens. Oh yeah. So they like all day long they spill out party propaganda, or well, news or whatever you want to call it. And you can't turn it off, and it always listens to what you have to say. So it's a society where there's mass surveillance, and there's some very, oh gosh, it's essentially a nightmare, and I hope it never comes close to happening. And I don't want to reveal what happens in case you haven't read this, so I'm going to be very careful. I'll just talk about the concepts. The concepts in the book are, I think this book is incredibly relevant today because there is mass surveillance. Whatever the government wants to tell you, they're lying. Although it's not as bad as it is in 1984, because there are like this force called the thought police, where if you are conspiring against the party, then you basically get taken away, put in a forced labor camp, or executed. So, oh yeah, so it's very relevant because there is mass surveillance, and we need to be aware of that. And the second part that is extremely relevant is there's this concept called doublethink, which essentially means that you hold two contradictory beliefs at the same time. And in 1984, they're consciously holding two contradictory beliefs. Although nowadays, I think some people consciously hold two contradictory beliefs, but oftentimes they don't know that they're contradictory. So, you know, I mean that's probably gonna be happening for a long time. People are just very contradictory. So this is very, very dark, and I'm probably gonna have nightmares about this book, but really shows how careful we have to be when it comes to government. There's some very interesting theories on war, and this book is like, I'm gonna read it again right now. You guys better watch me now. Everyone should read this book. I'm not sure why I didn't read this in high school. So I know some people did, and I wish not to harp on my high school, but I don't know. Some of the book choices were questionable. Literally pulled straight from the trash can called postmodernism. I might show an image right here of the worst book ever written that I was forced to read. My God. Oh, I'm getting flashbacks to junior year. Everyone in my class can relate. Anyways, I think everyone should read this book as it is incredibly relevant and is very scary, and just a masterpiece. Like the most beautiful, darkest nightmare that I've ever seen. So that completes my first 20 books. The next 20 will probably be slower than this. This one took, the first 20 took 2 months, and I think it's going to take way longer for the second, because I'm planning on reading some more philosophical and political books, as well as some more engineering related books, like like Fundamentals of Robotic Mechanical Systems. I'm pretty sure that one's not going to be easy to read. I also think I'm going to read an old book on neuroscience. I want to read some more Rand. I want to read some more Popper. So it's gonna get really it's gonna be hard. Probably gonna take a little longer, but it's gonna be worth it. Gonna open my mind, expand my mind, and maybe I was trying to come up with a good joke, but unfortunately it didn't happen. So I'm really happy with my progress so far. Got 80 more to go and 10 months, so I think I can do it, and it has been fun. Thank you for watching so far, and I hope you enjoyed my technical difficulties. Gave me an opportunity to go evil there for a moment, to be Orwellian, perhaps. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to sharing the next 20 with you. And go read this book right now. Go buy it. If I knew how to make money off of this, I would link you to this and get affiliate money, because you need to read this right now. Seriously, what are you doing watching me still? What are you doing? What are you doing? Go read this. Alright, thank you guys, and hope your New Year's resolutions are going just as well as mine.